Hi, it's Kamali taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. All in it together, a scam revealed and showing how crowdfunding culture can be abused. Brexit deal leaves no one happy, least of all the internet. He for she at Fenerbahce, the Turkish football club, partners with the UN to push for gender equality. And we'll tell you why Bruce the dog is so vital to ambulance staff in Australia. Well, top of our news feed, GoFundMe. Now, it seems that every time something happens, be it good, be it bad, a GoFundMe page is set up. They're everywhere right now, which is great when it's for a genuine good cause like people who need money to recover after a natural disaster or a family raising cash for a loved one's medical treatment. But the goodwill of people can be and is abused often, as this next story shows.
Picture this, a homeless veteran called Johnny Bobbitt gives his last $20 to help a stranded Kate McClure to fill her car with gas last November. The story touches a chord and grabs attention around the world. Kate and her boyfriend Mark D'Amico from New Jersey start a GoFundMe page to raise money for Johnny. And the heartwarming act goes viral. They raise more than $400,000 for him.
1,760.
That changes my life.
Now turns out they were all lying, and all three have been charged with theft by deception and could face up to 10 years in prison.
I mean, look, they put out a story that hoodwinked an awful lot of people.
The prosecutors say the money that was raised was spent on a New Year's Eve Vegas trip, a BMW, luxury handbag, casinos, and cash withdrawals. The story had started to show cracks when the veteran sued the couple, claiming they kept most of the money a few months ago. They defended themselves with this emotional bit of acting.
And I still believe that we did a good thing, and I would do it all over again.
But the truth has made people angry.
They used people's hearts to steal.
Now someone who deserves help will not get it.
GoFundMe will be refunding all the 14,000 donors who gave money, but the damage of this deception is bigger and more profound. Many believe people will now be far more cynical before giving to a good cause. Fake news and misinformation is not only on social media, it's seeping through the very fabric of society.
Now, the British Prime Minister Theresa May has had a tough time of it recently, with yesterday being the zenith or the nadir, depending on how you look at it. Her Brexit deal is hanging by threads. She had to answer questions in Parliament for 3 hours, and then when she gave a press conference, she kept forgetting reporters' names.
I'll take a couple more questions now, George.
Paul War, HuffPost.
I've done it again.
Lots of reporters.
Anybody who thinks I've got George Parker on my mind is, you know.
It's lots of reporters with no hair, Prime Minister. I think that's it. Prime Minister.
And there's been plenty of twittering about all of this. These are a few of our editor Louis' fave memes. Now, this first one resurfaced a David Cameron tweet. Remember, he was the Prime Minister who got Britain into this mess and then fled the scene of the crime. It's just before the election of 2015. And then this one from a German satirical programme with flames on the UK and the rest of the Europe at the popcorn. And this last meme has everyone's favourite idiot, Ralph Wiggum, giggling to himself with the words, "the whole of Britain" right now. All right, let's have a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. I stand with Ilhan. People have been tweeting support for the new Congresswoman after reports came out that she backed the boycott, divest and sanction movement against Israel. Now, before she was elected, she said that BDS was counteractive. Now, some in the US Jewish community are calling for her to clarify her position. Now, this is video from inside a theatre where Fiddler on the Roof was being performed. Apparently, a guy shouted Heil Hitler and Heil Trump during the intermission, and people in the theatre panicked. Some started heading for the exits. They said they expected him to start shooting. Turns out he was drunk and was removed by the security. And pictures from the wedding of the season have taken over Indian Twitter, which is a huge deal. It's hashtag Deepika Weds Ranveer, and it marks the marriage of Deepika Padukone and Ranveer Singh. They're both Bollywood royalty, and their nuptials particularly upset our producer Akanksha, but she says she will be okay. Now, a woman made a fool of herself while drunk recently. Big deal, you will rightly say. Well, unfortunately for this lush, it's 2018 and everyone has a camera on their phone, and her outburst was put on social media for us all to cringe at.
The Rohingya, the people of all nations, for you, international criminal law. Business class passengers like that. I'm working for all your people. I'm an international criminal lawyer for the f***ing Palestinian people. You think I'm scared? You threaten me with bollocks? Also, Irish Republican Army. You'll be shocked. That's it. Give me a all you have to do is give me a brain.
Things you could do with a glass of water. Well, to Australia now, and a senator there called Barry O'Sullivan, who had been told by a senator from a rival party to get his hands and his rosaries off her ovaries during a debate on abortion, responded like this.
I'm going to declare my gender today as I can to be a woman, and then you'll no longer be able to attack me.
Well, the reaction to that showed just how funny Aussie politics can be. This one says that Barry O'Sullivan now gets a 26% pay cut and faces challenge for pre-selection. This next one says he's happy to call Barry a woman, even though she is being hysterical. And this last one is just ice cold. It asks for Barry to just pretend to be a decent human. More serious stuff now, when the number of recorded hate crimes are on the rise in the United States. This is the United States that has a president who called Mexicans rapists, says that there were good people on both sides of a neo-Nazi and anti-neo-Nazi rally, routinely insults women based on their looks, and calls the press the enemy of the people. Coincidence?
Hate crime incidents in the US increased by 17% in 2017, according to an FBI report. More than 7,000 incidents were filed by 16,149 law enforcement agencies, with 1,000 additional agencies reporting hate crimes. Nearly 58% of the attacks were motivated by race, ethnicity, or ancestry. There was a 37% spike in anti-Semitic attacks and a 24% increase in anti-Hispanic and Latino crimes. Other potential motivations include religion, sexual orientation, and disability. But the report was criticized for likely undercounting the number of incidents. Critics say President Trump's rhetoric has ignited a surge in racist sentiment, particularly against immigrants and refugees.
Okay, around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Friday. Zuckerberg held an extended call with reporters recently to try and assuage fears that he's in control of Facebook. He's trying to prove to people, journalists mainly and policymakers more broadly, that this week's explosive expose in the New York Times was broadly not true. Now, the Times reported, among other things, that Facebook had hired a company to try and discredit its rivals when it was getting grief from the extent that fake news had been proliferating on the site. Like hiring a guy who doesn't drive to be in charge of your roads, Japan's government has given the job of cybersecurity to a minister who says he's never used a computer. He says he's always had his underlings do his computing for him. As you can imagine, his appointment has been widely criticised, and the guy is also in charge of the 2020 Olympics. And just when you thought you had enough on your phone to help you waste your time, another app is apparently on the rise. It's called TikTok and has now been downloaded more than 6 million times. And the reporting says that Jimmy Fallon and Tony Hawk are on it. So if that's not reason enough not to download it, I don't know what else you need. Police in Canada say that 1 month after cannabis was legalised there, there's not been an increase in the number of people caught driving while under the influence of the drug. That remains one of the main concerns about any legalisation. So far, the Canada case shows that concern is misplaced.
3 inaugurations, right? You say you went to
2 of ours,
2 of yours, and then
one of someone else's.
One of someone else's. You went to Trump's. So you had pretty good seats at all of those.
Yeah. Well, that was Michelle Obama on The Ellen Show. The former First Lady of the United States is doing the rounds to promote her new book, so you will see her popping up everywhere in the next few days, on your feeds, on your TVs. I heard her on my radio the other day too. And it's no bad thing because, let's face it, she's great and she is missed. And it's word of the year time. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, that word is toxic, as in gas, masculinity, relationship, culture, Donald. Nah, not Donald, that one's not in there. Now, Fenerbahce have become the first Turkish football club to join the He for She campaign. It's a movement towards gender equality backed by the UN. We caught up with Elizabeth Niamaro, and this is what she had to say about her new collaboration.
We are incredibly honored as UN Women to have this important partnership because sports plays an important role in shaping culture and defining norms. So we have been in partnership with the Koç group, in particular Koç Holding, as a partner for us in advancing gender equality, not only within their own group, but also within Turkey, but as a global leader and role model. This is incredibly important. We are looking for men, as we look at gender equality, we need men to be involved, but more than just having men involved, we need men who are good role models for the young generation of men. And we know that young boys look up to sports people, and so it's an important partnership. We are starting here in Turkey because of the leadership that we've seen from the Koç group, and we are hoping that this is just the beginning of a bigger global movement that is facilitated thanks to the partnership we are starting here today. So the He for She logo is a universal symbol for gender equality. It unifies both the male traditional sign of gender and the female, and we bring them together, which is what needs to happen in order for us to achieve gender equality. We have to bring men and women to be at the same table and talk about this and solve for it as one humanity and not men versus women. You will see today that the jerseys of the footballers is going to have this magenta color. This is a very, very important color that we created with a color psychologist at the Pantone Institute. Magenta symbolizes the idea that we create gender equality, and we have to imagine it to make it real, and this is what the color means. It doesn't exist in the color spectrum. It exists by looking at pink and blue, and the two then creates magenta, but we define magenta in our own eyes, in our own minds. And just one other thing, one of the things we're even more excited about is that this is a true partnership. It's not just about wearing the magenta on the jersey. There's also a manifesto that the team has come up with, which is really also looking at how we can create a safe environment in the stadium. One of the biggest challenges we see in football is that it's not a safe environment for women, and even for some men as well. So we want it to be a safe space where all genders can enjoy the sports without feeling sort of this negative energy that can sometimes happen.
Well done, Fenerbahce. Now it's Friday and we have an Animals Doing Stuff, and we have a dog from Australia who's helping people whose job it is to help people when they're most in need. Watch this.
Bruce is currently on a trial as part of Ambulance Victoria's peer support program that helps paramedics cope with the stress of the job.
Pat my belly.
Yes. He's a company man.
Isn't he?
He is. So,
Bruce's job is to be by the paramedics' side to help them relax and open up about their problems.
It's pretty amazing that a family dog named Bruce can come to Ambulance Victoria and could honestly be the key to unlock that conversation between a peer support person and a paramedic who's really struggling.
Bruce, come on.
Good boy.
Hey?
People don't realise just how much we see. They don't realise just how much we suffer and how much we take home. And to be able to have that conversation with Bruce by your side, even just having a cuddle, can really make you feel 100%.
Well, that's all from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again soon.